Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have an Onoto Magna Classic, and this is in the Chased Amber Pearl. We have an Onoto, and this is the Great Roof Metallic Edition. We have an Onoto, and this is the Platinum Jubilee Overlay. We have a Visconti Camelot. We have a Visconti Speakeasy. A Visconti St Basil. We have a Visconti Davina, and this is in the Desert Spring. We have a Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea. A Benu Talisman in the Tiger's Eye. And an Onoto, and this is in the David Copperfield. So we have, let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail here. We have an Onoto, and this is the Magna Classic in the Chased Amber Pearl. So you can see there it does say Onoto, and you can see it has this lovely amber pearl resin or acrylic with this beautiful chased pattern here, which you can see all the way around the cap and the body of that pen. Really is quite stunning, and have to say that I do like this pen a lot. I love the Onoto clips on these. These are actually silver clips, and if I unscrew the cap here, you'll see it comes with an Onoto number 7 size 18 karat gold medium nib. These are cartridge converters. You can post the cap on these as well. They will post deeply and securely, and I don't find that these are back weighted. You can, this one doesn't have it, but you can get a barrel insert which is made of brass, which is glued into the body or barrel here, which adds more weight, so that if you wanted to post your cap, it's not going to be sort of equal weight and feel maybe slightly back weighted, because you're going to have more weight there on the body. Some people like it, some people do not. Personally, I prefer the added weight that you can add to the body, to the resins, essentially. The next pen here inked up is the Onoto, and this is the Great Roof Metallic Edition. So this is a custom version of the British Museum. You can see the Onoto coin finial. You've got the lovely silver clip there, which I like. The difference here is that it doesn't say British Museum on that cap band, because it was a commissioned custom pen. And also the Great Roof doesn't have this gold filling on this pattern. And I really do like the gold filling. So I'm glad that Onoto did that, because I think that makes it look really nice. If I unscrew the cap, all these Onotos here today are cartridge converters. I've got a number 7 size 18 karat gold medium nib, but you can see in the size of my hand it's a good size. I can post the cap as well, and it's not, maybe it's a slight back weightedness on this, mostly probably because of the silver clip, but I do find these are very comfortable. And I don't normally need to have to really post those caps. So for me, that's another nice pen inked up this week as well. The next pen here is this one, and it is the Onoto Platinum Jubilee Overlay. You can see there the coin finial there of the Platinum Jubilee. And you can see this lovely overlay on the cap, which is sterling silver, and you've got a silver clip, but it's plated vermeil gold. The pen itself is resin. It's a cartridge, so at the moment it's a cartridge converter. I think this one came with a plunger as well. Actually it did. But I've got a cartridge converter in here at the moment. It's got a number 7 size, 18 karat gold medium nib. I do find that this is more lighter than the other Onotos, this resin. It's maybe a little bit sort of thinner as well, slightly. And I do find that the cap, although it will post, it will just rotate. So it's not gripping the body of the pen there. But it's a very nice pen. I like it a lot. I do have the full sterling silver version of this pen, but this one always kept speaking to me, and I decided last year that I would buy that pen, which I did. And I think I picked it up at the October Pen Show in 2023. Another pen that I really do like, and I didn't know this existed when I bought it. This was a Visconti Camelot, and it's a beautiful chainmail pen. It really is stunning, with a sword clip, which maybe isn't that functional, but it does work. And this a close friend picked this up for me at the Toronto Pen Show. If I unscrew the cap, you'll see the section is very long. This is a power vac filling pen, and it has an older 18 karat gold medium nib, but this writes really nicely. You cannot post the cap on this one. It's not designed to do so. This is an older Visconti, and I really do like it. It's a nice pen. So I'm very glad that I was able to pick this up when I did. I got it for a really good price as well. It was, unfortunately, somebody was selling pens out of an estate where somebody had sadly passed away, who was a pen collector, as I understand it. And I was sent the photo of this pen with a number of other pens as well, and I decided I would buy that pen there and then. So very glad that I added that one to my collection. So I've got that one inked up this week as well. Now the next pen is a behemoth of a pen. It's the Visconti, and this is the Speakeasy. Now, I really wanted the St Basil, and clearly I've got the St Basil now. Actually, I've got two St Basils, one in a fountain pen and one in a rollable. But I wanted the St Basil, but it was way too expensive at the recommended retail price. So I was able to pick this one up secondhand, which was the Speakeasy. Now, the main difference, even though these two pens are the same size, they have the same celluloid material, it's just this one has a gold overlay on it. The main difference between these two pens is this one really only takes cartridges. And I'll show you, I've actually managed to put in a Caverco squeeze converter. And the reason being why it only takes cartridges, it will not take a regular converter, is that you'll see here it says Speakeasy. And then you can actually see here it says whiskey. And you can rotate this clip here and it will change to vodka and other sort of drinks, alcoholic drinks. Now, if I unscrew the power vac knob, you'll see there's another knob. And so this isn't a power vac or piston knob. And this holds, I think it was about 5 or 6 milliliters of drink, of alcohol. So that's the reason why. I'm just going to sniff that because it's camphor. You get the camphor smell on celluloid. It's a beautiful celluloid pen. But it's not as practical purely because you cannot really fill it up much with ink. So it runs out really quickly. Now I have got a gemstone here. It didn't come with a gemstone. It just came with a standard Visconti My Pen finial. But I had this on another pen and I decided I would take it off of that. I think it would make it look better on this pen, because, and I'll show you the next pen here, because this isn't a real sort of precious gemstone. It's just a little piece of plastic. But in the next one here, which is the St Basil, you will see it does actually have a real ruby. So that's the reason why I put that one gemstone on there. Now, this is the pen that I really wanted, but was out of my price range until I went to the London Pen Show one year, and this was pre-pandemic. I think it was 2019, a year before the pandemic hit. And I saw John Twist having a fountain pen and a rollable for sale. And he would sell them as a pair, or he would sell them separately. And the price separately was a lot more expensive, obviously, because he didn't really want to split that up. And I can't remember what I bought that year, but I bought some other pens and I hit my limit. And I decided, you know what, I was going to wait until February, and I would wait until the next pen show, which was the Southwest Pen Show in Bristol. And I went there, and John Twist didn't have the pen anymore, or either, both pens. But John at St John's Pens had bought it, so I ended up buying it from him. I ended up paying a little bit more for it, unfortunately, but I still love that I managed to get this pen, or the two pens in my collection, the fountain pen and the rollable. So I think that's a lesson sometimes with FOMO that I get, is that sometimes a pen sells out and you can't get it, and sometimes it sells out but it sells to another retailer, and then they obviously need to get their cut, so they increase the price a little bit. But this celluloid is made of the same Speakeasy celluloid. This is a overlay, or inlay, I should really say, because it's inlaid into the celluloid here, of St Basil. And if I unscrew, the difference, as I said, this is a power vac. That one is just a cartridge, but it has the older 23 carat palladium medium nibs there. So I have that one inked up. You can't post the cap on these. It's not designed to do so. But I've not written with these for a while. I typically ink them up with the same ink. And it's one, well, actually I say same ink. It's normally one of two red inks. So I've got those inked up this week. But typically when I ink it up, it's going to be the same ink for both pens if I do ink them up at the same time. The next pen here is a Visconti, and this is the Davina oversize, and this is the Desert Spring. Again, another celluloid, a beautiful twisted faceted Davina in this beautiful sort of sand-like and water celluloid. Very nice. I've got my initials there on the cap finial. Yeah, here's my initials. And then I can, it's a hook safe lock mechanism. The nib in here is the older 23 carat palladium medium nibs. But these pens are a little bit strange. Like Visconti still make these, but they come with what is a captured converter. So you pull this bit out and you twist it, and it's essentially a built-in converter inside that you cannot open the pen and replace. I've not had any issues with those converters, those captured converters, ever. Some of these knobs that you pull out and twist are more stiffer to pull out, and some of them are not as stiff. You can also post the cap, and it will post, but it doesn't post massively deeply, and it feels back weighted because of that cap. So, and also because of this knob here. So I don't normally post these, and these are actually pretty long pens anyway. So for me, I don't feel the need to post those caps. The next pen inked up is a Benu. I want to call it a Davina Metropolitan. I was just about to say, no, it's a Benu, and it's a Euphoria Earl Grey tea infused with Earl Grey and lavender tea leaves. A beautiful specimen of a pen. Really like this. It's a Goulet exclusive. I still want to get a second one, but I'm still trying to resist the urge. It comes with a number 6 size Schmidt nib. I've got a broad nib on here. I would like a medium nib. I've got another Benu Euphoria with a medium nib. I I just feel that I'd like to have two of these, but I'm also looking that to buy this from Goulet and to ship it and to import it, I've got to pay about $250, which is way more than the actual pen. I think it's $157 for the pen. So I've got to pay about another $100 to get it shipped and imported, because I have to add more to the shopping cart because Goulet have a limit on shipping. So I don't know. I've had a few friends reach out and say that they're happy to buy it, and or I can buy it and have it shipped to them, and they'll ship it to me. There is obviously the cost of additional shipping, etc. It is a cartridge converter pen, like all Benus are. You can post that cap. It's a beautiful pen. I really like it. I like it a lot, and I'm just trying to resist the urge to buy a second one of that pen, because I've done this not all the time but quite a few times now where I have bought multiple pens. I don't normally like to buy multiple pens, but it's a nice pen, and it would be nice to have one inked up in grey and one in an orange ink, which is what I've got it inked up with at the moment. The next pen is a Benu. It's a Talisman. It's a slightly shorter and thinner pen, but it is faceted. Even the Euphoria Earl Grey tea is faceted, but this is a different style of facets that you can see here. Like, they don't go from tip, unfortunately. So it is a little bit of a weird facet that's going on here. A beautiful sort of goldish, orangish sort of pen with gold foil in the resin there. It is called a Tiger's Eye, so there is black there as well. I think it really is a nice pen. I did have to buy this one last year. I've got a broad number 6 size Schmidt steel nib. Again, it's a cartridge converter, being Benu, and I can post the cap. It actually feels quite nice posting this cap. Not that I normally post caps, but again, I'm not sure that I really need to post the cap, but you can do, and it's very, very comfortable. And then the last pen inked up here is an Onoto, and this is a Magna Classic style pen, but you'll see the Onoto coin finial there. And this is a David Copperfield, so it comes from Onoto's Writer's Edition. And I've got Charles Dickens, a number of Charles Dickens pens from Onoto. This is a David Copperfield. I do like this silver sort of pearl resin, and it really has got some lovely chatoyance there with a silver clip. I think the silver trims on this make it look nice. And I also have a little bit of inky nib there, but it's a number 7 size Onoto 18 karat gold medium nib. I can post the cap again if I want to. Doesn't feel back weighted. It just feels like it's a nice size and weight in my hand. Although I'm not sure I want to go much smaller than that, to be honest, in a pen. I typically do like longer pens, larger, more weightier pens. But I have that one inked up, and I do love writing with that one as well. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up today is the Onoto Magna Classic in the Chased Amber Pearl. So I think let's do a ink swatch first. And I really think that the ink that I've got in this pen matches the pen very nicely. Doesn't really make me want to change ink to a different coloured ink. So this is the Onoto, and it's the Magna Classic in Chased Amber Pearl, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib, and the ink in here is Herbin Ambre de Bermanie. which is a nice colour of ink, and I really do think it matches that pen quite nicely. The next pen is the Onoto, and this is the Great Roof Metallic Edition. So we'll do an ink swatch. I'm just seeing, I think there's a little bit of ink around the section on there. So let me wipe that off first. Otherwise I'm just going to get my hands inky. So this, we'll do an ink swatch. And I've got this with a lighter ink, but I think it also matches the gold infill here. So this is the Onoto, and this is the Great Roof Metallic Edition. And it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Robert Oster Aussie Gold, which is a very nice gold coloured ink. And again, I think it matches that gold inlay quite nicely. The next pen ink tub is the Onoto, and this is the Platinum Jubilee overlay. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a nice dark grey ink. Almost looks black. I just want to double check. I'm pretty sure I know what the ink is on this. So this is the Onoto Platinum Jubilee. And it's, well, actually it's an overlay. So I'm going to put in overlay there. And it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. Medium nib, and the ink in here is Diamine Graphite, which really is more of a black ink, but I do like it, and I don't normally like black inks. I think because it's called something other than black, I think I just like that a little bit more. The next pen ink tub is the Visconti Camelot. So we'll do an ink swatch, and this it still has some resembling. I've tried. I did put in here at one point Mont Blanc Lavender Purple, and it still has a little bit of a purple tinge no matter how many times I clean this pen out. But this is the Visconti. Maybe I need to go back to that ink. And this is the Camelot. And it's a medium 18 karat gold nib. See, older 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey. But like I said, it does, if you look at this, it does have a slight sort of purple tinge to that colour. So it's a little bit, and I've rinsed this out and I've inked it up with Diamine Earl Grey a lot more times, but still, I don't know, it might be there's just a little bit in the feed still that's affecting that pen. Strange, but I know it does happen. The next pen ink tub is the Visconti Speakeasy. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, this is a very flexible, bouncy nib. And everybody that has tried this nib before has said the same thing. So this is the Visconti Speakeasy. And I'll show you here. It really is bouncy. It's a medium, and it is a 23 karat palladium nib. And this was at the time when some of those palladium nibs were really bouncy. And I think that's why I fell in love with Visconti pens and nibs, because they were so lovely to write with. And then the ink in here is Diamine Poppy Red. Now, I do gravitate sometimes with that pen, inking up with Poppy Red or Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. But today I've got Poppy Red in that pen. The next pen inked up is the Visconti, and this is the St Basil. So we'll do an ink swatch again. And again, this is a fairly bouncy nib. It's not quite as bouncy as I would say probably the Speakeasy. But this is the Visconti St Basil. And I'll show you there. It's certainly very flexible, but it's just not quite on the same scale of thickness there. But again, this is the older 23 cat palladium nibs. And then the ink in here is, again, Diamine Poppy Red. And I used to get to a point where I would ink one... If I had both inked up at the same time, I would ink one up with Poppy Red, Diamine Poppy Red, and then one with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. But then I would always forget which one was which, and I just found it was a lot easier if I'm going to ink both up at the same time to just have the same ink in them. The next pen inked up is the Visconti Davina, and this is a Desert Spring. So we'll do an ink swatch again, and this is a nice wet writing pen nib, and I always typically ink it up with this ink. This is one of, I think, a couple of pink inks, but I like this ink a lot. So this is the Visconti Davina, and it's a Desert Spring. And they only did this in the oversized version in this celluloid. And it's a medium, and it's a 23 cat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Amaranth. And I'm just trying to think what the other ink was that I used to ink that up with. It escapes me at the moment. I'll probably remember it later. But that is a nice ink. I know what it was. Pilot Iroshizuku Sutsuji. That's the one that I used to use a lot in there. But I go between that and Diamine Amaranth. The next pen inked up is the Benu Euphoria, and this is the Earl Grey tea. So we'll do another ink swatch. And this is the Benu Euphoria Earl Grey tea. And it's a broad, and it's a steel Schmidt nib. And the ink in here is Dominant Industry. Industry. And a bit of a brain fade there. And it's Earl Grey tea. Unlike Diamine Earl Grey, which is a grey coloured ink. And I also find that this ink is very, very close, if not identical, to Diamine Blaze Orange. The next pen inked up is the Benu Talisman Tiger's Eye. So we'll do an ink swatch. And you'll see that here, hopefully. So this is the Benu Talisman Tiger's Eye, and it's a broad, and it's a steel Schmidt nib, and the ink in here is Diamine Blaze Orange. So if you can't get Dominant Industry Earl Grey tea, this is almost an identical colour of ink. And then the last pen inked up is the Onoto David Copperfield. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I like the colour of this ink, I think it matches the pen quite nicely. So this is an Onoto David Copperfield, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib, and the ink in here is a UK Pen Show exclusive KWZ Old Smoke, which is what London is typically known as. And this, although it's more of a London Pen Show exclusive ink made by KWZ, it's sold in all of the UK pen shows. So if you can get to a UK pen show, you can actually buy it from all of those. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have an Onoto Magna Classic in the Chased Amber Pearl in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Herbert Amber de Bermony. We have an Onoto Great Roof Metallic Edition in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Robert Oster Aussie Gold. We have an Onoto Platinum Jubilee Overlay in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamond Graphite. We have a Visconti Camelot in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamond Earl Grey. We have a Visconti Speakeasy in a medium 23 karat Palladium nib, inked up with Diamond Poppy Red. We have a Visconti St Basil in a medium 23 karat Palladium nib, inked up with Diamond Poppy Red. We have a Visconti Davina Desert Spring in a medium 23 karat Palladium nib, inked up with Diamond Amaranth. We have a Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea in a broad steel nib, inked up with Diamond Industry Earl Grey Tea. We have a Benu Talisman Tiger's Eye in a broad steel nib, inked up with Diamond Blaze Orange. And then we have an Onoto David Copperfield in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with KWZ Old Smoke. So there you have it. That's my currently ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye-bye.